Hi everyone, it's Fee from the factory, and today I'm going to show you how to use up some scrap bits of fabric and make them into a scrunchie, because scrunchies are back. So what you need is get your fabric, so whichever fabric you want to use. It's a good way to use up all bits that you've had for curtains or old clothes that you're not going to wear anymore. Just a nice way to kind of be more sustainable with your sort of scraps and offcuts and actually use them to make something new rather than just throwing them away. You'll also need some fabric scissors, a tape measure or some sort of ruler, something to just measure, a safety pin. I've got a scrunchie template here which you can make yourself, or you can just use a tape measure or a ruler to measure that out yourself. You'll need a little bit of elastic and some thread, some pins and a sewing needle. You'll also probably want a sewing machine and an iron. So if you've got those at home, that'd be great. If you haven't got a sewing machine, you can just use normal needles and it'll take a little bit longer, but you can still do the same thing. First thing you need to do is measure out the right bit of your fabric. My scrunchie template is measuring approximately 500 millimeters or 50 centimeters long by about 9 centimeters or 90 millimeters wide. So either measure out on your fabric using the tape measure, or do what I've done and cut yourself a template in some paper or some card. You can just use some scrap paper or card from your recycling to do that. Now I'm going to use a pen, but if you have got some chalk or something, especially if you've got dark fabric, you might want to try and use chalk rather than a pen. Now I'm going to cut it out using fabric scissors. Now make sure that you only use fabric scissors for fabric, because if you use them on paper it will blunt them and then they won't be able to cut fabric properly anymore. Now at this point you want to check if you've got a back side to your fabric, because some fabrics have got a kind of white underside or it's slightly faded, and you'll probably have a preference for which side you want showing up on your scrunchie. So if you have it so that the good side is up, and then we're actually going to fold it over so that the good side is on the inside. So I've got that folded in half, and we're going to do some pins along the way, in sort of vertically across the fabric, which is folded lengthways, and you've got the edge bit here, and that's where the pin is going in. So in like so, that sort of distance apart, and if we do it all the way across, now we're going to fold, so get one edge or one end of your fabric strip and fold the edges over. This folded edge will kind of cover where the two ends join, so that we've got a kind of neat end to it. So yeah, fold that end over. Hopefully you can see that, and then we'll put one more pin in here. So give it about a centimetre of seam allowance. Put our needle down to start and pull those sides a bit, and just go a little way, back, and then we can start going across, but don't forget to take your pins out as you go. Okay, so now we've stitched our seam about 1 centimetre in from that edge. We're gonna turn it inside out. So what we need is our safety pin, and we're gonna pin through, so find one of the edges. I've got the edge here where we've got the fold. I'm just kind of squish it a bit to open it up and kind of put the safety pin in through the top of that opening and close the pin. And the pin is going to be what we use to turn it inside out without it taking forever. So we can run the pin, and the pin we can keep hold of. Like so. So now we need to press the seam, which we're going to do with the iron. So try and sort of sit it so that when you press it with the iron, the seam that you've sewn is on one edge and the fold is on the other edge. And now we need our elastic. So I've already cut this piece down, but be careful not to cut it too short, unless you want a small scrunchie. This I have made, it's about 22 centimetres, 22 centimetres. So, got your elastic piece, and then we need back to our safety pin, again, so that we can thread it through and not lose the end. So pop the safety pin in one end of the elastic, close it, get one end of your scrunchie tube, pop the safety pin through. So what we're trying to do is feel the safety pin all the way through, but don't lose the other end of your elastic. So we can take that safety pin back out. Make sure you close it. You don't want to be standing. You drop it, you don't want to stand on an open safety pin. And so now we'll tie a knot. So try and sort of keep as much of the length of the elastic as you can, but do tie a pretty tight knot in there. Like so. And your scrunchie is very much taking shape now. It's got the scrunchie shape to it. You've got one end or one edge which is just kind of rough, and one where we did the little fold. So if you try and poke the rough edge inside the folded edge, the last bit then is where we'll need to get our needle and thread so we can sew this edge up. So I've threaded my needle, so I'm going to stitch along this edge, maybe start actually where the seam already is, so we're not stitching through the elastic inside and we're allowing it to still be a tube that the elastic can move around in. Okay, so when we get to the end, make it knot it a few times, or sort of use your needle to loop through to cut off any of those loose threads. And there you go, one finished scrunchie. Should we try it? Oh yeah. Ultimate hold.